Hey, this is Jono Tho'ra back online. Have to totally kick some more butt, doing the good stuff. Never stopped researching, never gave up my secret base. I ended up just doubling down on the secret base. Things worked out pretty well. I mean, things look pretty dark on the outside. All this hoopla about who gets the sticky and who gets the who doesn't, who votes for Orange Man bad, and oh man, it's gotten way worse. Wow. So how is it? Whoa. How are things? Let's see. So I've been pretty busy. I've been working on building out my entire platform, getting Starcom fully operational in terms of being not necessarily just a business, but Starcom as an agency for real superheroes and helping them, giving them real support, finding these superheroes and actually and authentically helping them. That's like totally Starcom's operation. And me as Jono Tho'ra, I get the opportunity to basically be there for them. Well, that's interesting. People are trying to join, but it's not letting you join. Or is that even... We'll find out. I'll keep trying. They're probably locking it out. That's probably new. That's too bad. Oh, right. Isn't there like filters and stuff for this? I gotta get that. Enhance. Smooth. Oh, that's it. Oh, no, filters. Oh no, those are the filters I'm looking for. It's definitely a real-time filter. Effects. Oh look, there's this effect, but then it doesn't have the sparkly effect. Man, that's my favorite effect. So, let's see. I guess I could just start talking. Hopefully the algorithm lets people stay on, and just the whole thing kicks butt. So, I've just been idly enjoying my time working out of here at the secret base of Jono Tho'ra, and that's me. So, I do superhero work. I do open source investigations, so I'm a hacker. Not a bad one, just more like a pirate hacker. So I have a pirate hat, and I'm much more about freedom of information kind of stuff. It's more like my domain. And I do a lot of studies into defense against the dark arts and various kinds of things like that. Today was the full moon, and it's August 22nd, and a lot happened. A lot's happening right now. We have all sorts of geopolitical crazy things going on in the political stream. We have, it's kind of getting really interesting because the military intelligence that is coming out is starting to be a lot more available. Somehow. I guess just for me, I don't know what happened, but basically the internet is starting to open up a little more. I'm not sure if that's because the censorship net is being taken down, or if it's because I've just gotten better at finding the information, or if it's just... one thing's for sure, the algorithms have gotten a little better at finding what I'm looking for. Not being very specific, am I? I can't hear myself think. It's just too loud. It's been a while. So, I have a lot of, there's a lot of stuff to talk about because, well, let me just go onto the Discord. So if you don't know, I have a Discord where we basically monitor global events and global situations. and it's gotten pretty good. Some of us have really stuck it out for over a year, just monitoring what the heck is going on in the world with this crazy like fake news and all of this hoopla about what's going on. And it's not hoopla. According to the military, we really are at war. It's a global shadow war. So if you didn't know that, we're in a global shadow war. Don't freak out, because we've been in the global shadow war for a while. And there's another event that's supposed to be coming up. Who knows? They're always cryptic because things shift all the time in the intelligence community. And I could talk about that all day. It's this battle between intelligence and counterintelligence. And these folks in the intelligence community, I can also talk about what that term that I just said. What is the intelligence community? It's I'll talk about that. But basically, there's this constant battle for intel and what intel is real. And so nations aren't the only players, but corporations are the major players now. And this has been going on for a while. This has been going on since around when Obama got elected. And I'm not saying that's Obama's fault. I'm saying that what's going on is around that time. So 2007, 2009. And effectively, there's been corporate wars that we've been going through this whole time. And they've been secret wars. And the media, which is part of the corporate war. So think of it this way. There is this massive global, transnational stage of many corporations fighting for a peace, and they have the power to manipulate entire nations by controlling aspects such as their media and their information in order to manipulate the populations so that they do things that they want them to do. And this has been going on. It's like everybody's heard of a commercial. Everybody's, seen a commercial, right? So in the intelligence community, it's not just military intelligences. It's not just these three-letter agencies like the CIA or the NSA. There are minor and small groups all over the place, all over the planet, that have their own stake in this. And they're all operating this counterintelligence process. It's gotten to the point where the information is so muddled that nobody can figure it out. Or at least that's that was one of the goals of one of the intelligence agencies. At least it's for sure the Russians, and I'm sure the CIA followed suit. And I know that the CIA was the culprit in America for doing that. And so what's going on there is, right now we are experiencing the end, possibly. They keep saying it, but it's the way the information's coming out, the way that the truth's coming out, the more people are waking up. It's getting more and more obvious that the techniques that they've been using to hide the truth are starting to fail, and that the new techniques for censorship are backfiring, such as the censorship techniques on Facebook and Twitter, TikTok censorship stuff. We obviously know that it happens. Everybody sees this. And so, and if they don't see it, they're literally only watching cat videos, right? Like unless you're, and I can hear it now. It's like, well, you probably shouldn't be watching that. And it's like, that's what somebody can say. But if we as a community of human beings don't try our hardest to discern what is true in this world, we will just literally be taken for a ride to death. As some evil fucker comes around and... Man, I cursed already. I already cussed. Did it show that I'm a little nervous? It's been a long time since I've done any lives for a while. I've just been charging up my laser this whole time. It's kind of a soft entry. And so what am I trying to do here? I have found I need different music. Let me get something. This is really nice, but this is not my vibe. That's what's going on. Gosh, it's such nice music. You know what? We're going to actually keep it. We're going to keep it because it's so nice, and I need to figure out how to shift to that. Because I'd rather not talk about those kind of events quite yet. Instead, I'd actually like to do something a little more fun. But if you have questions about what's going on in the real world, I know a lot of that kind of stuff, and you can join us on our Discord. I have a new link, jono.tho'ra.show, and that has like everything you need to get to anything that I have, and more on that later. And so, going back onto my normal feed, this is really what Jono Tho'ra is supposed to be doing when he's online. He's not supposed to be trying to address these issues of geopolitical ridiculousness. There's more important mission objectives than trying to figure out, like how yellow or orange is Trump at the moment. I got much more important things to do than trying to figure that kind of stuff out. Okay, so thanks, Suki. I'll tell you exactly what I've been up to. So I never stop on this. I'm not sure if this is going to be a lifelong journey for me, trying to learn all of the symbols of Universal Symbology. But learning the symbols constantly gives me better understanding of not just the universe, but what I want to do technologically and what I want to go kind of figure out what I want to do with my life. It helps me understand other people. It helps me understand technology. Helps me understand how to see time streams. Now, this is a new thing, time streams, and this is a big deal for Jono Tho'ra's time streams. It's the bee's knees. It's the best hotcakes you've ever had times 11. Times 11, man. It's like, the dial goes to 10 times 11. Well, it's a multiplication dial. And I'm gonna put this back down here so we have it as a reference constantly, because it's a good reference. Okay, so this is a time stream map up here. Now we're gonna get you a good view of what this time stream map looks like. If I can get you that. Maybe if the rest of it was white, or maybe if I had the black background version. No, because I'd have to convert all that to white. I could do that, but that'll take some time. It's really frustrating that it's like this. Oh, and is it mirrored? It is mirrored, but let's unmirror it. Oh, we're going to do that. We're going to press the not mirrored button, flip camera. It's actually... Oh, wait, no, wrong button. There we go. And it's still doing that thing. So let's see if we can smash some stuff. There we go. There we go. Gosh, I could barely see your screen, but you can see this screen, I think. Does it look blurry? Hope so. Hope not. So, in this time stream map, what I'm doing... Oh, man. This is a long process. But this is the end result of about 5 years of research, 5 to 7 years of research into the cosmic cipher disk, and trying to understand exactly what I can use it for in order to basically control, hack, and change my timeline. My goal is to take absolute control of my destiny to a point where nothing can really interfere with that generally speaking. More importantly, this time stream, what we're looking at, is an Earth-based time stream, and these colors tell us what happens over the course of a year. This is this one focuses on 2021 with a couple months buffer on the beginning and end. I made this for myself so I could try to figure out over the course of 2021 what these colors mean and what to expect when they happen. And there's a lot of different parts of this. So let's dive in. Let's dive in into what I have found. Wow, this viewer sucks. I'm a little flustered, and I'm gonna take down that negative energy of mine and put it over there. And what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna open the time cipher map here. If it'll that it's already open. This is the wrong time cipher map. So time map V3. Won't find it. That's terrible. Ugh, gosh. Yeah, and all of the other ones are white, and I can't do that right with them. Okay, so I don't see why it has to be like that. I know that it's in here. That one has padding. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so we're going to use this. I'm going to throw it into Photoshop so it doesn't do that annoying thing. There we go. And now I have way more control over where it is. Okay, so that's better. It's way better. Okay, so what are you saying? Oh, you're very welcome. Ooh, who determines the color per unit of time? Okay, so the colors are determined up here by the planets, and it has to do with planetary harmonics. Let's see if we can get, you know what? You can probably just see it because the camera just does it. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Here, we're gonna just see if I can erase that. No, I need the time sprite. Okay, so that's a weak marker. Of course, you know, all of the markers are just everywhere. Like I bought like a 5-pack and they're already all disappeared. It's crazy. Okay. No, this way. It's a little better. So I'll just erase that and that'll be okay. So what I'm going to teach you is how planetary harmonics work. I do all kinds of lessons. My lives are like free lessons for advanced basically advanced understanding of how to read time streams and what time streams are in the first place, and how and like just the truth of the matter. Okay. I'll figure it out. I'll somehow remember that. I'm sure it's important. It's time stream sprites, something about planets. I got the Apple Pay. I did Twitch and Signal. I already know those symbols. Okay. I got like 50 other whiteboards, or at least like 20. Okay, so planetary harmonics basically works in factors of 3. So you always want triangles. And so that also includes factors of 6, and then also factors of 9. It's harder to do the one with the 9. But that means that these points divided by 120 degrees are harmonic with each other. So let's say you have planet Venus over here, and sun's here. No, actually, that would be Earth, wouldn't it? So it would be Earth-centric. So that's Earth, that's symbol for Earth. There's other symbols, that's prime symbol for Earth. Because the reason why this is the symbol for Earth is actually, and they won't tell you this, by the way. This is like, I don't even think they know. It's kind of weird why they don't know this kind of stuff. or at least that they don't tell us in the textbooks, but basically it's a combination of two universal symbols. And then you combine those and it forms this. And so this is space, this is location. So space is the circle, location is the cross. That means this is your spatial location. Where's our spatial location? We are on Earth. Now there's another type where it's this symbol. And so we're going to put this symbol here. And well, isn't this location? Well, no, because this is much more particular in terms of two intersects of dimensions on a two-dimensional plane. It represents an intersect between dimensions, a location, a anchor point, sort of an anchor point, but mostly location. Coordinates. The dot, however, we have circle, and then we have dot. This is, let's make sure you can see it. Can. Space, and then center. Space, center. So if this is our space location, if this is our location in space, and this is space center, and this is Earth, this is the sun. Because this is the center of our space. But this is relative. It doesn't have to be the sun. This could also represent the center of our galaxy, or the center of our universe. This is the center of a space. That's what this symbol represents. And this symbol represents the location in space. And it's very general. It's not even being specific. It's not even saying your location in space. It's saying a location in space. It's very generic. And so it includes your location in space only because it doesn't have anything else part of the symbol to represent anything more specific. Now, if you wanted to be specific, you could add any kind of sigil writing of any kind. For example, Jono. Well, now we know how simple. I mean, yes, this is another language, another writing system entirely, but that doesn't mean that you can't merge them. It's literally a universal writing system, and you do need to know the encrypted versions of other languages. But if you know universal symbology, you can literally read all kinds of things that are just naturally out there in the universe, or even like everyday stuff. You go to the grocery store and you see symbols everywhere, and when you learn the universal symbology to the point that I have, where I can just, I've been studying this stuff for 7 years. I can just read a box and it says certain things with the raw shapes on it. Buy me, eat this now, buy more. That's what those symbols mean. I don't know, I could probably spend maybe 30 minutes trying to figure out what symbols might mean that. But I'm not going to do that for the safety of the future of all of humanity, because that would be a very bad thing to teach evil corporate forces. Anywho, what makes Venus interesting as a symbol, and I'll get back to what I was talking about with universal harmonics later, planetary harmonics, very soon actually, not just later, but just to wrap up this universal symbology and any confusion, Venus is a space, a way out of our location, or a space out of location. And it's interesting because then you can also be saying with the Mars symbol, where it's circle, line, and this. And so this represents action, this represents direction, and this represents space. And so this space represents direct action. That's what it meant. It's direct, in fact, actually. There's other words that you can use for the line. In fact, a tremendous amount of words for the line. And it is still a base symbol because all symbols of all kinds are part of universal symbology because it's all inclusive. Okay, now let's get to the planetary harmonics and exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. What is planetary harmonics? We'll want that back. 120 for the example, but there's other examples. So In planetary harmonics, there are a couple of positions that really matter in terms of the gravimetric force and the electromagnetic energy that the planets exert between each other. And the amount of gravity and the amount of energy, electricity or gravity or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the energy, let's call it spatial flux, ether even. You can even call it ether, whatever. It doesn't really matter as much relative to the actual central positions of the planets. The positions of the planets matter way more than just the basic gravity levels. We can talk about the gravity levels later, but just simply put, Jupiter dominates the star system, and it's all about Jupiter and the sun. And then like Saturn's kind of like the side hoe. It's a little more of an asshole than the side hoe. Anybody who worships Saturn's pretty pissed off at me for saying that. But I mean, you really shouldn't be worshiping a planet. It's kind of silly. Although they are probably alive. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're alive. It makes sense now. It took a while to figure that one out. Anywho, if you have another planet here, let's put this one there. Let's put Jupiter. We were talking about Jupiter, and it looks like a 4, right? It's not a 4. I can talk about that symbol all day too. If these three are 120 degrees away from each other, they form a trine. And in music theory, which applies to all frequencies, not just sound, there are 12 notes. Okay? And I am working on a document that explains this, and I should probably actually just pull it up. Now I got the other stuff. We'll pull it up later because I have a whiteboard. The whiteboards are great. So the reason why this happens is the same kind of thought process that goes into music theory and how certain notes are harmonious with other notes. And sometimes certain notes simply just sound perfectly like they should be one after another. And that creates harmony. It creates harmony. Harmonic. Harmony, right? And there's this other half of it where it's dissonance. Harmonic, resonance, dissonant, disruptive. And so in these cases, I'm trying to think of all of the symbols that go, but you can do this. That's half of one of these. There's another symbol that they use for it. I'm not sure if it's this. That's kind of better actually. What was that other one? It was a King Kong's. Oh gosh, it was basically like 11 out of 12. No, that's not what it was. It's basically like, not just basically. It's if you have this, and then it's just slightly off. It's just off to the side of being in opposition. Oh, and that's actually another much better one, opposition. Oh, and then there's also conjunct. And so these in astronomy are known planetary harmonic experiences that change the nature of the star system at the time. And what does that mean? That means that the sun's energy, the sun's electromagnetic, oh man, totally fell down. The sun's electromagnetic energy, the EMF frequencies that come from the sun are changed depending on the positions of the planets, because the planets are changing the harmonic of the star system. So the entire star system and the energy that comes out of the sun is entirely dependent on where these planets are. It changes which direction is the pole at the moment, it changes which direction. As the sun is spiraling through the galaxy, it's changing its trajectory slightly. Because the planets are all going around, pulling the sun with it as it's spiraling around. Man, I should make an animation for that. That would take a while, but it actually might not take too long. I got the right stuff to... Yeah, you know, that wouldn't be too hard of an animation. It might take a day to make. As that energy from the sun goes out from the sun and then in through a planet, let's say this is Earth, and that's our Earth's axis tilt. It's really tilted. And what's going to happen is that the energy literally has to adjust for that. It has to adjust for the rotation and orientation of each planet. And because it's electromagnetic frequencies, it's magnetism, it's all of it. It's all of those different types of frequencies because it's all the same stuff. And so, I'll get to that later, but as these other planets move around and change this frequency of light that beams through Earth, that changes the energy that hits us, and that changes how we feel. That changes our biochemistry. That changes things like our brainwave patterns. And so these planetary positions totally define the entire biosphere of every planet that is alive in the star system. And as a result of that, our biosphere is dominated by the positions of the planets. Doesn't that sound like astrology? That sounds exactly like astrology. It sounds like you can calculate that. And the answer is, yeah, you can. You just have to, know how to do it. It's an expensive calculation, but you could totally pull it off. And I finished the math for it. I have finished that math. I built my own calculator and I used it in order to create this Timestream map. I have an application that's for Mac that I used in order to print out these time strips of harmonic energy frequencies. And it can actually print them out either solid colors or blended. And down here you see the blended version. But up here is the solid version. So this is the version that astrologers all believe. They believe that, like in astrology land, they have been lied to, and they think that it's either Taurus or it's Aries. There's no such thing as like 50%, 50%. There's no 50-50 Taurus Aries. There's no such thing as like 75% Aries and 25% Taurus. But it's like when you talk to an actual advanced astrologer, they know without a shadow of a doubt that there's more things than just your... Well, let's make sure I didn't click anything. I think I clicked anything. Yeah. Your sun sign isn't the only thing that defines you from birth. Every planet defines you. And every planet has a different type of effect because of their distance from the sun, because of their mass, because of their orientation. And so every planet has a different harmonic frequency pattern, and that pattern changes the sun's electromagnetic frequency relative to what that planet is like. The natures of the planet change. So it's not just their positions, it's the flavors of the planet too. And that's why every single planet has a different dogmatics, it has a different dogma about it, because they really do affect us as organic life forms on Earth in very specific ways, because it affects the sun in very specific ways and changes the electromagnetic frequencies that coming off of it, hitting Earth, going through our body, changing our biochemistry, changing our brainwave patterns, and making us behave differently. And this is the ticking astrological clock of our star system. And every star system is like this. It's not just here. So every star system across the universe has their own astrology with their own individual planets, with their own individual harmonics, and those stars are emitting EM frequencies too, and those stars next to us affect us as well, which it means that the astrology where specific stars in the sky change or determine special unique quirks about you, that makes a lot of sense all of a sudden in the face that those electromagnetic frequencies coming from those stars have their own unique harmonic, just like the planets do. So the entire sky has it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And this map that we're looking, this is just like baby times. We're having baby times right now. This is just a Mark III. Like, we're not even at Mark V, people. Like, I have not even built a Mark V yet. And that's because I haven't been able to finish the Mark V. So let's go take a look at how far is the Mark V coming along. Well, the Mark V, this is not the Mark V. The Mark V is a 3D globe map on starcom.app. And we're going to go to the psionic resonance map at starcom.app. This is available on my website on Jono.Tho'ra. I'll wait for that. But I have, in the meantime, while we're waiting for the system to load, I have this website called Jono.Tho'ra.show. If you'd like to know more about this stuff, I have a Discord. You can go onto there and you can just join the Discord right here. And it's the Tho'ra clan. You can just join the Tho'ra clan. It's free. Just join us. This is the Jono Tho'ra show. That's what we're doing. I'm gonna show you guys the secrets of the freaking universe. I have all this crazy stuff already set up. Anything you need, if you want to get up a session, if you like me to do your own, like do a time map for you, I can make you a freaking time map personally for you to help you navigate your personal destiny, just like I did. And it's a lot of fun. So it looks like it loaded. Here we go. So this is the map so far. It's very simple at the moment, and it doesn't function anything beyond this cool little clicky thing and these different visualization modes. But this is a really good start, and I have a lot of other code that's basically the foundation for making the time maps programmed in here. So the foundation framework for making the time maps work in the first place is already set up inside this software. And once again, this is at starcom.app or the psionic resonance map.starcom.app. If you click on my link in the bio, there are navigations to it, and then you can also just you can also try to contact me. There's contact information at jono.tho'ra.show. Show you that. And this is my primary mission for humanity. And this is my gift for humanity. This is a lifelong project. I have more important projects to do than just helping save humanity. But yeah, if you want to collaborate, you can go up here, click on collaborate, and it's going to take you to a section where you can contact me directly. And there's a lot of other options. You can if you go to my Discord, you can also contact me directly there. It's actually much more fun, nice place to do it. I highly recommend joining the Discord if you're into this stuff, because I'm not going to stop. And so doing these time maps is my business. And it's my business because by using these time maps, not only can I help individual people navigate their destiny, I can help them navigate around the most dangerous time, probably within a 2,000 year range. Like, we are like the Christians are probably right. I think they're right. We're living in the end times. Like it's been 2,000 years. That 1,000 year reign of darkness came and gone. They're going to try to, they think they won, but they did win, and they're going to lose. And that's not a problem. And I've been trying to figure out how am I going to fight something as terrifyingly deadly as like the Illuminati. It's like, holy crap, how are we supposed to do that? And it's like, well, it sounds like the United Earth Alliance is doing a damn good job if they're real. And if they are real and the United Earth Alliance is actually going to exist and that we have a real shot at changing the timeline, and by golly, that's what we're going to freaking do. By golly, that's what we're going to do. We're going to change that timeline by realigning with the real math of the actual astrology, because this isn't the occulted astrology that everybody is forced to use on the internet right now. This is galactic-centered, accurate, astronomy-based astrology. And I don't even call it astrology anymore because I call it planetary harmonics. That is what I do. And the difference is very specific. One of them is traditional and the other one uses science. Not that astrology doesn't use science. I'm an advanced astrologer and I can assure you it's the same freaking thing. It's the same thing. I'm just rebranding it. Who cares? Who cares? The scientists care. All of those people who believe that astrology is not real care. Once you say terms like planetary harmonics to a scientist, all of a sudden their pants get in a dizzy and they get really excited and like, ooh, that sounds interesting. Especially a space person like me. I'm a space nerd. And so, not to mention, look how psychedelic this thing is. It's like, this is so cool. And it just turned out that way, okay? Like, I mean, I made it that way. But I made it that way because you need to make it that way so that you can read the colors. If you can't read the colors, you can't read the energies of the time. And so let's crack it down. We just went through what's called a red zone. What does that mean? It's fire sign. So here we are in August. This is this whole timeline is 2021. And here we are in August. Today is the 22nd. That's the new moon, or the full moon rather. So what does red mean? Does that mean blood? It means fire. Red means fire. It's fire sign dominant. And so let's take a look. Here's August. Look at all that crazy chaos going on in August. August is just a mess. See how I just said that? Do you see how I was able to say that? August looks like a chaotic mess, doesn't it? Well, that's true. It was true. And there's a lot of emotions, blue, and there's a lot of experiences, red. There's a lot of action and movement because it's blue and red. Blue and red are water and fire. But it's more than that. I'll teach you this. This is the advanced arcana. And by the way, this is like what I just do. This is just like what I do. Oh, thank you for posting the thanks, Jazz. Are you a moderator? You're oh man, can't believe you're not a moderator. I'm gonna set you up. Get you manage, add moderator. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so here is the triangle up and the triangle down. Fire, water. This just simply represents energy movement. Is it going up or down, out or in? And always remember, it's not just, imagine this is Earth. This up and down is from the perspective of Earth. But let's zoom out. Yeah, let's zoom out and say this is Earth. Well, now it's water, fire, or more accurately, water, fire. Water goes down into, fire goes out from. And so that's really what these represent in terms of raw cosmic energy. But it represents so much more. And why does it represent so much more? Because it's a triangle, and this is universal symbology. So everything that triangle can represent is true. That's how it works. That's how the definition of universal symbology just works. It's very easy. And that's the best part and the most deceptive part of learning universal symbology. It's deceptively easy. Totally. So let's get into that. So, and then we'll go back to the time stream because we need to understand how to read the colors. Fire is red. Let's see if you can see that. You can't see that. Let's make sure you can. Fire is red. Red. I was gonna. And water is blue. And in colors, in color theory, you have a line, and in the rainbow, it starts from one side, red, all the way to blue. And that's light frequencies. And so this is, these represent the full range of possibilities of the spectrum. And now we can get to earth and air later, and earth and air are actually in the middle because that's where those colors lie. But regardless, let's focus just on fire and water because it's easier. This red and blue. Red team, blue team, by the way. Red team, blue team. Did you vote red? Did you vote blue? Are you Democrat or are you Republican? Are you conservative? Actually, conservative is earth sign. But either way, if you vote red or blue, it's very important for everybody on this channel who cares about politics and not falling for the trap to know something very important. In politics, there's a very particular reason why one team is red and one team is blue. Because water sign, emotional people, vote blue. And the other one, experience, or spirituality really. But experience, oh, by the way, before I make a poop, instead of that, let's wash the car. I don't know what that means, but I'm working it out. I'm figuring out my cool, fun terminology. Just let me trip, and then I'll pick myself back up. Experience is the same thing as spirituality. They're two sides of exactly the same spirit coin. It's exactly the same thing. I totally took that two sides of the same spirit coin from someone I met as someone, ex-girlfriend. Really good, interesting relationship. Experience, I hope I spelled that right. Experience or spirituality. But check this out, spirituality, let me write that down too. The T, feeling. So on the water side, they're about their feelings. They are triggered by their emotions. You know, that sounds blue team. And on the fire sign, they're all about they really care about their experiences, and it's about spirituality. And you notice which side are the Christians on, right? Spirituality. They're totally red team. I mean, you might get some, it's not like blue team doesn't have spiritual people, but fire sign is a spiritual energy type. And so what's going on here is this battle between these two sides. But it's important to note that it's not a good idea to make the mistake. Oh, you guys are going to love this. It's not a good idea to make the mistake of thinking that these are above, these are below. Although technically in retrospect, I mean, that's kind of on it. But you can also say that the earth signs are also below because they're lower. These symbols are part of universal symbology. There is oh gosh, this is so important. So there is the cross in the middle. There is the ascension cross. There is the descension cross, the top, and then the bottom. There you go. That's where it comes from. And this is universal. So aliens, angels, everyone speaks this. This is an intro to the universal writing system. And if you want to translate that for theologists or Christians, this is the language of the angels. This is the writing system of the angels. Like, that's what it is. I do record my TikToks now, but that's because it auto records all of my lives. And so I can download them and then put them on. So if you'd like, I'd be absolutely glad to do that. If you want to cut my videos up and you want to share them, do it. Like, I don't care. Just, I do care. I want that. That's awesome. And just go to town and figure it out. Like, figure it out, because you know what? This is like, I'm gotten to the threshold where I'm past universal symbology 101. This is Universal Symbology 101. I'm now taking Universal Symbology 201 for myself. And let me tell you, like 101, baby times. We're talking kindergarten. This is kindergarten. And it took me years. It took me years to figure this stuff out. It's like, really took me years to figure out something basic like this. Let me tell you the reason why it took me years to figure out something basic like this. It's because this symbol and this symbol are hypercharged socially, and it makes it impossible for me to think outside of those socio-cultural restraints. Christians have trademarked this. Luciferians have trademarked this, and they have a war about it. And it's super frustrating, because if we knew that these are base symbols and they simply, like, well, it's not that we don't know, it's that we don't know. We're told that this represents ascension, but we're not told this much bigger part, where it's part of this entire language of all of these different symbols. And by knowing that, it breaks down their entire control net and frees our souls so that we can truly have that connection with God without that intersect, without that person, these cultural hijackers in charge of our religions defining how we should be. Instead, we can finally commune with the true God and universality. Yeah. It's such a trip. And let's see. So back to red team, blue team, and then we'll get out from there, and then we'll go back to the time map. So red team, blue team, think about this. When red team wins, there's a bunch of associations that go with that, and let's draw those. We don't need the sun anymore. We already talked about that. Okay. So we have, let's do all of the associations. So this is, let's say this is fire. This is fire. Fire is up. Fire is closer to the top. These are friends. These are all on the same. Fire is friendly with the point. Fire is friendly with this, which is direct, which is action. And point, this is like the center or your core. Oh, you can't see it. Let me put it over here. Okay. So this is the point, the dot, the center, the core. The number one thing this represents, I forgot about this. The number one word that I have discovered that represents this symbol is origin. Origin. It's where we come from. We come from this perfect, infinite crystal core. And everything around it is, in essence, part of it. I can go into the theology, but basically the whole concept is this is one and the same. The center is the same thing as the circle. It's all one. It's all one. And so this one also represents oneness. Because it's everyone else, objective, subjective. This is everybody, this is self. Those are the differences. And once again, it's universal symbology, so all of these definitions apply. Let me take this off, going back to all of these associations. Oh, and the line. All of these are very masculine. That's what I'm making an association for. So this is all very masculine. And then we can go to this lower side. Let's do the water sign. Now, these aren't necessarily masculine or feminine, by the way. I don't think so anyway. But they do still have an association because of the orientation. Circle, curve, and the squiggle. And so these all on this one associate with much more of a feminine kind of energy. And remember this, it's very important to remember this. Just because you have a penis or ovaries doesn't actually define whether or not you as a person are masculine or feminine. It only determines whether or not your genitalia and physical body has the ability to perform sex in order to reproduce a certain way. So one side of reproduction is this masculine side, and the other side of this sexual reproduction is this feminine side. But then there's this whole other aspect of who we are as people, which is, by the way, what blue team is complaining about. Blue team is complaining to red team, and it's not really red team actually. Blue team, and it's blue and air. Gosh, let me get there. Let me get you that. Let me get you that. It's totally going on like tangents, but that's just how I roll. I'm gonna drink water. I need some water. That's what I'm gonna do. Cold water. This one's cold. Got cold water. So let's just take a short break. If you have questions, ask them away. I can see the screen, so. Oh my God. Also, I've not been live because I've been busy working for a bank, but I'm not working for them anymore in order to save the world. So, hello. What am I explaining right now? So I'm explaining Universal Symbology. There is a universal writing system that's intrinsic in the universe mathematically, and I've discovered it. I don't think I'm the only person who knows, but I've never seen a single document across the entire net about Universal Symbology, and not even the occult texts that I downloaded from the piracy net. Not even the occult texts from the piracy net talk about it. If anything, those terrible occult texts simply just constantly divert you away from it. The Bible doesn't talk about it. I don't know if the Indians have a text for that, but if they did, I haven't heard of it yet. And frankly, I have not seen anybody teaching Universal Symbology. I have not found anyone talking about it. And it is the basic writing system of the universe. And the symbols are literally as simple geometrically as you can get. See, that's as simple as the symbols get. These are the four primary core examples of the symbols. There's another subset. And this is, by the way, what I'm about to show you. As I'm explaining them, this is part of mathematically, this correlates to how the symbols fractalize relative to the geometries of the universe that define the symbols and their meanings. The meanings of the symbols are intrinsic from the geometry that makes them possible in the first place. You can mathematically derive the meaning from the geometry itself, because geometry has meaning in mathematics, which means that meaning is mathematically intrinsic in the universe. And that is the number one way to totally bombshell any nihilistic mindset, regardless of what situation you are in on a cosmic scale. Gosh. If you want to talk about something that'll defend you against Satanists who are trying to fuck with you, knowing that meaning is intrinsic in the universe and being able to think about, oh yeah, it is intrinsic in the universe because there's a subset of symbols and I know about the symbols and that's proof, and that means that it's freaking intrinsic. And that means there's meaning in the universe, so nothing that these nihilistic Satanists can lie about really can win against this divine cosmic truth that is undeniable. There's another thing that this does. This proves that there is, by having meaning being proved, that by being able to prove that meaning is intrinsic in the universe, no longer do we have to be afraid of certain things like needing to have faith in absolute truth. All of a sudden, things like absolute truth are real. because meaning is intrinsic in the universe, and that means there is truth, and that truth is defined by that meaning that is geometrically intrinsic. And so now absolute truth is real. This is a major blow to any Satanist argument who's trying to fight the forces of holy righteousness. So if you are a Christian and you have ever considered struggling against that, this has not, like, I'm not talking some Jesus stuff. Jesus' name was Yahshua. But what I am talking about isn't leaving the faith, but solidifying it in absolute truth, because you don't need the faith if you know it's true. And there's a threshold here where these symbols, where this geometry, where this universe gets so complex that a consciousness forms in that universe. You have now formed a universal entity that spans all of existence in our universe. And these rules that I'm talking about aren't exclusive to just our little universe, just our little corner. No, this applies to the entire multiverse. And so if any universe, anywhere in the multiverse, manages to blossom geometrically to the point where it forms consciousness and becomes powerful enough, it can leave its own universe, go through and spread consciousness across the entire multiverse, and ultimately become the multiverse itself on a multiversal consciousness. And nothing would ever be able to surpass that. And the reason why is because that's literally, the multiverse is the intersect between infinity and eternity. And if that whole thing inherits consciousness because of the things that it produces, the infinite things it produces within, it becomes God. And when I say God, I'm not talking about, bearded man in the sky. No, I'm talking about one above all God, the highest God possible. And if that does exist on a multiversal scale, there's only one thing that thing is jobs for. It's one job a trans multi-universal God could possibly need to do. And its job is simple: ensure that existence continues. And all of a sudden, ensuring that existence continues, something happened just right there when I said that. If you have something out there that's enforcing across all universes the rule that existence must continue because it's trying to continue this existence through its experience, it's trying to continuously manifest more experience, more consciousness, that's what it's going to do. It's going to constantly bleed that out everywhere. That is the closest thing that I've ever seen to match the definition of the one above all. And the thing is let me figure out where I want to go with that, because that's heavy. So, right. What I'm talking about has to do with good and evil now. And so in a Satanist who is nihilistic and wants you to fall in faith and fall in frequency, I could talk about frequencies later. When a Satanist wants you to fall, they want you to not believe in absolute truth. They want you to fall to this nihilism. They want you to fall to that. What's going on there? Well, we can analyze them, or we can get this higher outer perspective where they're just like a much smaller earth kind of problem, right? Satanism is a very earth-centric issue. Satanism isn't something that hopefully pans out beyond our galaxy. If it does, it doesn't go very far. It's kind of weak relative to a one above all God. Nothing is as powerful as that, because it literally can think you to death. It can think your universe to death. It can think your entire multiverse subsection to death just because you threaten the rest of existence. And that goes into defining what is holy. What is holy is associated with what is whole. So we're looking at something. Let me just jump back. We're looking at something holy, right? Good for the whole universe. That's what holy means. I was going to try to explain it in some long-winded way, but forget it. I'll just get to the end. Holy represents something that's good for the whole universe, or something that's it's better to say, good for the whole multiverse. But if it's good for the whole multiverse, it better be good for your universe, right? So if you have a universe that is split between stuff that's bad for the multiverse and stuff that's good for the multiverse, that universe exists between these two spaces of the core and the void. The void would basically represent death and nothingness, your return to nothingness. And the core, well, that's heaven. It's literally the crystalline perfect core of the multiverse. And I could talk about that too if I was sitting down, but right now we're doing symbology lessons. So we're going to stick with symbols and try to wrap up here, and then I'm going to get back into red versus blue, finish that, and get back to the time map. So here in this argument about what is holy, and I see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to wrap all of this up. I see that's what I'm bringing. Cool. So the reason why this matters is because the battle that's happening on Earth right now, bringing us back to Earth, bringing us back to our context. There's a fight on Earth between the forces of holy and evil. The evil wants to bring us to the void, destroy the planet, kill everybody. This is all over. Give up, die, forget it. It's that kind of energy. Whereas core, this is reaching for the stars, trying to make it, trying to get there to this impossible, idealistic, perfect goal, this crystal core, being one with God. See that? Being one with God. And quite frankly, neither of these on an individual level really represent God. On a symbolic system, this would probably be much more associated with what God really is, because it's the combination of the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. And so you have the void is usually considered the beginning, and the core is usually the end. And so this is the beginning, this middle one is the beginning and the end. And so like that's kind of like what that goes through. So the reason why this matters for the context of what I'm going to talk about is because right now in this year is a major battle going on between the forces of holy and evil. And in a very real sense, the evil folks have an easier time manipulating the emotional feelings of water signs of the blue team because of their association with energy frequencies cooling down, going down into the void. See that? That's true. Does that mean all water sign people are evil? No, everybody has water signs. If you've ever had a feeling, and I don't mean like, oh, I was touched or, oh, I had sex. No, if you ever had like the feeling of joy, feeling of happiness, feeling of sorrow, sadness, loneliness, fear, anger, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some more positive ones. Creativity, I guess. That's more like a consciousness thing. But all those feelings, all those emotional feelings, that's water sign territory. And so that's why these blue team voters, that's why anybody who votes blue team has a higher probability of being able to be so easily emotionally manipulated. And it's important for any fire signs. I'm fire sign dominant, by the way, so this is what matters for me. I'll answer your questions real soon. And so in this, fire signs are also able to be manipulated, but they are manipulated not with their feelings or emotions. they're manipulated with their spirituality and their experience. And so it's very easy for an evil Luciferian to jack in to their religion, hijack the entire book, rewrite it, and make these people have experiences that they want using that. Think about that. That's exactly what the Luciferians have done to Christianity. And it's not just Christianity. This happens all the time. This is not just an earth problem. This is a trans-dimensional problem. So we're not the only ones having this issue. Okay? So if you are Christian, don't feel like you've been singled out. This is a huge problem, or rather this is just like a feature of the interactions between holy and evil on a universal scale. Because holy is an energy, right? It's an energy frequency that represents the highest, or this absolute oneness. And if you ever, in the spiritual communities, they call that oneness, and that's the same thing as God. They just don't want to call it God because of all of the religious charge. And the reason why the spiritual communities don't like to say things that the Christians say is because they know intuitively, those spiritual people know that something's wrong with Christianity, and that they really have been transformed into some, like, not the people, but the leadership particularly has been transformed in some sort of evil Luciferian version that is just like not even a shell of what it was supposed to be. Anywho, so that's a pretty good solid lesson between understanding the differences between the red and the blue team voters, this fire sign energy, this water sign energy on an emotional scale, right? So now that we've talked about that, let's go look at that timeline and use this new knowledge that we gained about understanding these energy frequencies and the people who are associated with them, and how those energies might affect us through planetary harmonics on a day-to-day scale. We're going to focus on this month, on the month that we just had, which was August. I only just finally started monitoring this for real, but that's just because I finally understood how to read it. I was able to digitally print it like over a year ago, but like now I'm able to actually read it. It took a while, and I'm excited to get to more skills for it. So let's make sure you can see it. You can. Okay, good. Oh, but there's a question. I know you're all. I know. No. Will the Big Crunch create a new Big Bang with a new universe? Yeah. So the universes are constantly in flux, and every black hole is basically another universe. Every black hole in our universe is another universe somewhere else, and it spreads throughout all of infinity. And this is a small feature of a small part of the enormous, massive, super cosmic web called the multiverse. Going back to so let's focus on this red. In August, there's a whole bunch of red and a whole bunch of blue, but as we see here, it's red dominant. But we can still see the blue up here. And so the blue is coming from the moon, Mercury, Mars, and the sun relative to Earth. So what I'm doing here on the top, what I'm doing here in this beam, let's make sure you see it. I'm just making sure you see it. What we're doing here in this beam is we're looking at the top half are inner worlds, and the bottom half are outer worlds. And then I'm intersecting their harmonic color positions relative to each other and using that in order to determine the energies of the time. And so the planet's position in orbit is relative to the planet's position in the sky relative to Earth has a system of harmonics, which is a base 12 harmonic system, and that's what this ring disk, that's what the star disk here is. So that's why there's 12 colors here, but there's an infinite number of angles. But basically what we really care about are the angles between planets. And so Earth is our center And so we care about, from Earth center, what are the angles relative to Earth center for all of the planets. And our point of origin isn't the sun or some random location. Our point of origin is the center of the galaxy. And that's why we call it galactic-centered planetary harmonics, or galactic-centered astrology. It's exactly the same thing, just one of this case, it's scientific, because we are doing something that the astrologers never were able to do, because they were never able to create a program on a computer powerful enough to do hyper-accurate astrology calculations and then have that transformed into a color-coded system that then can be read like this. You need a computer to do that. You can't do that with markers. It's just not going to happen. Talk about a project that would literally take you like a decade. In this case, this only took me, a couple days. The program took me years to make, but that's just because I had a lot of stuff to learn. Okay. This is a fire sign dominant area. What does that mean? It's a harmonic with fire signs. What does that mean? Fire signs have a harmonic energy disposition during a time like this. That's what that means. It means that if you're a fire sign at this point in the center of August, that the energies of the time are harmonic with you. Now, that doesn't mean that it's good for you. That there's way more specific mathematics that you get into to determine whether or not it's beneficial for you. But you can make it beneficial. That's the key. What I just said is really what matters here. If you know that this particular time, if let's say I was in July, and I knew that August was a red zone, and I'm a fire sign dominant person, I know that once August hits and I get further and further into this nice red zone, that the times are going to be more and more harmonic with what I need to do. And baby, that is exactly what just happened to me. That is exactly what just happened to me. I finished my freaking website. I finally quit my shitty job. I did everything great. Fire sign to the core. And when I say I quit my job, I fire sign quit. I'm like, I'm out of here doing whatever I want to do. I'm free. Nobody's going to mess with me. I'll do what I want. It's America. Oh, man. Spirit of America flows through me, and there is nothing they can do about that. Ever. It is eternal, because freedom is an energy. It is a part of our spiritual energy source. We can always tap into that. However, sometimes are more harmonic with tapping into that sort of energy. And so let's talk about the future. Oh, I'm not sure who got chills, but we're about to go. We're about to get into the future, and that's what the Jono Tho'ra show is all about. That is what the Jono Tho'ra show is all about. That is what I do. I help you navigate into the future using time maps, and that's what we're doing here. So, a lot happened that was fire sign harmonic during this time. There's a lot of spiritual experiences. There was a lot of action. A lot of things got done. A lot of movement. A lot of things came out. But check this out. Fire sign doesn't mean knowledge. Air sign does. Air sign is yellow. And so I could go back to the whiteboard, or I can just tell you, air sign is intelligence. Yellow means knowledge. Green means physical. Green means like growth. It means a lot of stuff. Anything physical, using something, getting something, having something, saving money, all that kind of stuff. But it could actually it could be the opposite. So imagine, for example, during this time, some evil earth sign. See, this map doesn't talk about evil or holy. Not really. Technically, these black zones, they don't actually represent darkness. I thought for a while they did. And they still might, but what it really represents is uncertainty. These black zones in the middle represent whether or not, how sure we are about the energies of the time. So if it's a black zone, it's very murky, it's shadowed, Now that kind of sounds evil, but it's not evil. Shadow and darkness are not the same thing as evil, but that doesn't mean that shadows and darkness aren't friendly. It's evil basks in the shadows of darkness. And the reason why is because it's not seen, it withers in the light of day. Evil can't live there. So during these murky times, it is indeed easier for evil to do evil. Does that mean that the dark times are evil? No, but it does mean that they have an opportunity. See that? Right there, coming up. And that keeps happening. And then these other times where it's super bright, like this very green one, the choice is obvious. It's not murky. Everybody knows exactly what we're going to do. A bunch of earth sign stuff. Well, what does that mean? Well, we could talk about the yellow later because that's important, but let's talk about this big green zone between September and October. We're going to have earth sign dominant time energy, and so that means that physicality matters a lot. We might end up seeing some sort of market boom. We might see, for example, let me rephrase that from market boom. We might see a lot of major crazy things happening in the field of money, in the field of finance, in the field of physical items, in the field of obtaining. What else are the earth signs, right? It's like, let's see, resources. Oh gosh, that's the big word. Resources. Lots of resource stuff happening around this time. This would be a good time to figure out what you're going to do with your money, saving your money, thinking about that kind of stuff. Figuring basically it's a good time to save. It's a good time to hunker down. It's a good time to build. It's a good time to build something physical. It's a good time to assemble something. It's a good time to sit down and get that hard work that you've been trying to do done, because you got this green energy for almost 2 months working for you. And that means multiple planets are on your side about it. That's a reading. See what I just did there? And I just used colors. It was so easy. It's like baby times easy. So what you're experiencing now, this is like the next stage of Universal Symbology. So Universal Symbology 101 is just these basic symbols and learning the basic concepts behind them. And all of that stuff I was telling earlier about what these mean, that's all part of it. But then Universal Symbology 201 is about application of that knowledge. And this is an example of how you can totally apply the base symbols and their intrinsic colors to explain the energies of the time as it progresses. And once again, I don't call this a timeline. I call this a time stream because it flows. It's wibbly wobbly, and it looks wibbly wobbly. You know, this isn't a line. I mean, it's a line, but I mean it's wide for a reason. It's not like there's only one planet that defines what happens. All of these planets do, and that means it's a stream, and that's how it's like a data stream. It's like it's a data stream of information, and that's actually what's happening here. Where this is a visualization of a data stream of all of the planetary positions and their harmonics, and their harmonics are based on the color, and so it's a color-coded harmonic system, and that's why that works. So what about this yellow? What does yellow mean? Well, I think all of us truth seekers are really going to like this a lot. Yellow is about knowledge. And we're going to see here coming up right on August 20th. And if any of you have been online today on TikTok looking at, and you go into conspiracy land, truth is coming. And truth is coming fast and hard. And it's an intersect between fire and air. So when you have fire and air together, that forms combustion. So when you get an orange, that's combustion. Fire alone doesn't mean explosion. Air alone doesn't mean explosion. But when you combine the two, yeah, that's what's going to happen. It's because it's to tell you the truth though, it's really fire sign, air sign, and water sign combined. And you have the fire to give that heat. You got the water and the air, and that's your fuel. That's your fuel together. And that's kind of, but I do know in Arcana, it's really the air that's the stuff that combusts. Anywho, what we're going to experience very shortly is a combustion zone. So be careful, everybody. We might really experience a little bit of explosion. There might be, I don't know if that's like actually a physical explosion. That's possible, right? But any kind of explosion, whether it be experiential or intellectual, anything really. And if any of you conspiracy folks know what's been going on, because you pay attention to the military feeds that we're getting about the truth, and you don't watch the TV because you know the things, well, it's about to come out. I mean, like literally today I was just watching a video where Michio Kaku, my favorite public scientist, is like, oh wow, look, UFOs are real. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so strange. Oh my gosh, I guess we're just going to have to rethink science after all. And I'm watching this show and I'm like, Michio Kaku, you knew all along. I read your books. You knew. He's such a silly. Anywho, so it's happening. They're going to do at least the UFO stuff. But I think that there's a lot of other stuff that's going to happen. Also, by the way, there's a Black Swan event that's coming up. It's unclear exactly what it is. It's plausible that it might be a cyber bombing. I hope not. If it is, basically that means that almost all of the internet is going to be destroyed. We're talking over 90%, or at least taken down. Definitely like the social nets like Facebook and Twitter, basically all the primary ones. I know for a fact that I saw a rumor, just trying to tell you how it is. I know for a fact that I saw a rumor that said that the only app that you will be able to use to communicate is I was surprised when I heard this because I thought the whole internet was going to be dead. But the app called the Signal app, let me pull that up. It's really important. Anybody who's on right now, whether you believe in conspiracies or not, you got to get this because the military feeds are a buzzing, and I'm back online because of that. So the Signal app. This is Signal. Let me just get down to the main page because you can't download it from my screen. You can also go to jono.tho'ra.show. If you go to jono.tho'ra.show, get to my website. I have a link for Signal right here. I also have a link for Discord app and Telegram. But the reports are saying that the Telegram is also going to go down. And that Signal's pretty much the only app that was listed that I knew about that wasn't going to get taken down. Now, I don't know if that's really true, but if it is, get that app because that might be your only way to communicate because they might even take down like SMS text. And that's like how extreme the cyber bombings might be. Hopefully that doesn't happen at all and the white hats save the day. But if not, then it would be a good idea to be ready. Also get some water if you can. I know that my grocery store is completely out of water. That's pretty bad. Let's see where we at. It's time map. So yeah, we're about to experience a bit of a shadow zone where it's murky. It's going to be unclear. It's also a neutral zone. The reason why it becomes black is because yellow, red, green, and blue all meld together in that one spot, and they're perfectly balanced in color balance. And as a result, it becomes a black. And I can hear the color theory people saying, but it's RGB. It's only red, green, blue. And it's like, that's definitely what they told us at school. They definitely taught us in school that it's red, green, and blue. And the reason why they told us that's true is because that's what colors our human retinas are designed for. But what about universal color balance beyond the limitations of the human eye? Because once you get out of this mindset that the colors that we see as humans, that's it. And then you realize that light is not just the light that we see, but it spans from all frequency wavelengths, ranging from the smallest wavelength possible to the largest wavelength possible. Let me be very specific. The smallest wavelength is an infinitesimal point, so small that it's a singularity, and that's the smallest wavelength. The largest wavelength is the span of the entire universe, and every frequency in between, every wavelength in between. And we have this tiny, itty-bitty subset in this one little spot right here. Like, okay, so like that's how light frequencies from a universal perspective work. And so while this is color coded, so it's visual to a human, when it comes to understanding color codes, it's important to note that it's not just red, green, blue, it's red, green, yellow, blue. Yellow is one of them. Yellow has always been one of them. And that is a big thing that we never knew because we're too busy having human retinas that are specifically engineered based, well, not specifically, but just, well, that might actually be the case, considering all of the history stuff that we're now revealing. Yeah, in retrospect, that might have been on purpose. They might have genetically modified us to be like that on purpose. Man, that'll suck if that's true. Hopefully not. Anywho, going back here, there's a lot of yellow, and there's a lot of yellow on both sides. And so let's take a look over here. We're looking at the core worlds. That's what this represents. I should have said that earlier, but that's okay, because we're saying it now. It represents the core worlds of Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And they're intersect between the moon and the sun. And so the sun changes its position in the sky much slower than the moon does. So the moon's on top, and this is our higher frequency. It happens more frequent, our higher frequency setting, and this is our lower frequency setting of the core worlds of the star system relative to Earth. And so this is a Earth time stream relative to these planets, and I call this the core world time stream. Gosh, that sounds so cool, right? But like, that's exactly what it is. It's like, it's not like I'm lying. It's not like I'm just, I mean, I am branding it pretty well, but it's just, it is what it is too. Anywho, it also looks like, awesome. It also looks like there's, let me just make sure that's not just like a color thing. Oh, it is a color thing. That's okay. So I'm trying to zoom up here because you can really, I want to actually design these so you can be very, very specific and subtle. So as you zoom up, you could like infinitely zoom. I want to design it. I want to make a program so you can infinitely zoom into it so you can get like down to the second, like when something's going to happen. And that's going to be so powerful. It's going to be so powerful because if I can make a map that visualizes that as a UI interface for an app, then I can take that same code after I make that for humans and make it for AI and make it so the AI can do this. And that'll be very unfair. They win by default, like all the time. If the AI had that, they would always win. So like there's only like one other technology that I can think of that would beat that. And that's if the AI had quantum cores. That's pretty much the only way you can beat that. And they already have quantum cores, so they can already beat that. That's amazing. Anywho, once again, the yellow represents truth, and the fire represents spirit, represents our oomph, represents our going, represents our action, represents our fire of spirit. And the yellow represents our truth of knowledge. And so as we get this, it's a harmonious time. It's a subtly harmonious time, because as you notice, the center's not yellow, is it? Just the rims. And so when it's just the rims, that means that the energies there are subtle energies, whereas the ones in the center are primary energies. then the ones on the outer basically represent the like this is solar, and the one on the outer above is lunar. And that's why the moons are up here, because this is the lunar side of this particular style of time stream. And as you see, I have 4 examples of time streams here, and I've made others too. There's a whole bunch of different types of time streams you can make based off of what you need. It's a big deal. So I'm never gonna stop. I might go to bed someday, but we'll see how that goes. I'm also clearing out my throat by talking so much. Like, I've been smoking a lot of weed. I got back into it because I had a job where I had to work for a bank, and I was like, this is the worst job I've ever had. It was the worst job I've ever had. And I'm so lucky that I didn't actually end up having to work in the facility, because it's like basically there's no windows. The whole thing feels like the Matrix, like when Neo, before he left the Matrix and he had to work for that stupid company in the beginning of the movie. Dude, it was just like that. I was like, this is the worst. I'm never gonna, no. So it took me a while to finally get the guts. And finally, during a fire sign dominant time, I got the guts. And I totally did it. I did it. Free. That was rough. Anywho, so once again, we're going to be seeing subtle signs of truth here. But it doesn't look like to me, see that murkiness? It doesn't look like to me that the main, you guys are going to love this, the mainstream. It doesn't look like the mainstream is going to see the truth, the subtle truths that are happening on the rims, that are happening on the edges. But they're not going to see it. And why are they not going to see it? Shadows. And who's going to take advantage of that? Who's going to take advantage of the mainstream falling to shadows during a time of subtle truth coming out? That fucking cabal. That's who's going to do that. And so you see how you can read that? See how I just read that? That's how you read this thing. And it's just like, and it's like, oh, you're just being a woo. It's like, no, there's math involved, and I don't need to prove. I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't even care about scientists, because now I know that they now I know why the scientists aren't allowed to talk about this kind of stuff. So then there's this big green space. It's a whole bunch of growth, probably some money, major, not just probably, but definitely some major stuff happening with physical items moving around, stuff being sold or bought, saved, built, all kinds of money, finance. It's an eruption of that. And we're going to see that for about 2 months, right into November. And I haven't finished developing this map, by the way. I just kept working on other projects. I felt it was done enough. And I didn't put the numbers on the moons. But let's see. Let's make sure you see it. Oh, I should read what you guys are saying, because I just kind of finished the next couple months told the future. Let's see what you guys said. Yeah, we all need truth. Yeah, I'm back. That is so true. All of isolation, separation, randomness, and meaninglessness all exist only in deluded imagination. And I feel like that notion of the darkness of these zones, I feel like that's like that delusion. Like it's the deluge. Oh wow, delusion, deluge. That's definitely what that means. So when we get into November, all of a sudden, we're going to see this massive spike right at the end of October, getting into November. Subtle truth constantly. And look at that beauty. Subtle truth bleeding into the mainstream. Oh shit. Igniting the mainstream. The mainstream explodes into action. Look at that. It goes from growth to truth, and then just about right here, just before, probably around November 12th, maybe, somewhere, not just before the middle of November, there's that ignition point And so we're probably going to see a lot of crazy shit going on right here. So my money, if I was a betting man, which I am not, would go on to this spot being the major spot where the subtle truths are so powerful that the mainstream is overcome and ignites. And that's bad, because then it becomes this. And that looks pretty bad. So let's take a look at this. That's concerning. Look at that darkness for over a month and a half. Right after that. That's not good. And I do know that the pink represents a couple things. It represents the intersection between blue and red. It is the chaotic passion fire of love. So it's not that this isn't, once again, this color doesn't mean evil. It means chaos. It means fleeting emotions. It means experiences and emotions in a flutter. And that sounds like love to me, right? Like experiences and emotions fluttering around all over the place. And if the central core was pink, if the mainstream was pink, I'd be like, that's great. That's great. Oh, that's great. Oh, it's time of love. Aw. But no, there's a lot of shadow. And so if there's shadow love, that there's evil love, I'm just going to be very blunt with you. I'm not going to freaking sugarcoat this anymore. I'm too good for that. We're talking some dangerous satanic shit going on. And I know that pink means love, but pink plus darkness means dark love. And that means shadow love. That means stuff the type of love that can only exist in the shadows and not the light. Think about that. And we got a whole major section in here. And I have to point out, look at this insane color spectrum up here. This is nuts. It's like a freaking circus. And I would not be surprised if this entire time period appears to be a circus. That would not surprise me at all if it was that chaotic, because we're literally looking at something like what? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 18 major lunar shifts happening here. That's crazy. So this time is just absolute chaos. This is going to be a very chaotic time. And as you can see, it's going to get hot. It's going to get fiery. There's going to be more and more action as we go. If you notice right here, there's a little more fire sign, a little more spirit, but then it just goes right back to dark, right back to dark. There's tiny slivers of color here. And it's not until after January that things finally get into a fire sign dominant time again, and something major occurs in terms of action, in terms of spirit. Ooh. So that's a basic example of how to read a time stream. You have the main stream in the center, you have your subtle streams on the rims, and you have your sidelines on here, which and the sidelines represent longer term perspective and shorter term perspective. So that's how you read this. That's how it works, and that's basically what the colors simply represent. And I've been looking at this for a while, but only recently did I really, really dive deep into it. And that's just because I finally truly understand how to read the mainstream. That was always, I never knew what the black was for. I was like, why is it turning black? Oh man, you're gonna love this. Check this out. There's another one. There's another thing that happens. Check this out. You guys gonna love this. It's white. It's white. It's white. If darkness is the shadow, I guarantee you, because I was the one who set this. I was the one who made the color codes, and I was the one who was figuring out how all of that organizes. Let me rephrase that. I was the one who was setting the color filters to do this so that I could see the dark spots and so I can see the light spots, but I wasn't really absolutely sure about what meant what until like recently. And so the white spots mean holy. It means truth light, divine truth light. And so what does that mean? The kind of truth that the darkness can't do anything about. There's no way they can do about it. It's an absolute kind of thing. And so the white spots are more conductive with a central core type energy, like the point, the center. And so that's like godly, like the God energy. And the darkness is more of the void energy, the circle. And so that's more of the darkness, this the void from which everything came, the nothingness. And so in this, you can I'm pretty confident that I don't see it on this particular time map, but I looked at the math and I'm pretty sure it can happen. And if you notice here, this is a little bright, isn't it? Oh, wait. If you notice, these are slightly brighter. This area is slightly brighter. So it's like a silver lining. So even though this is a dark time for the mainstream, think about that. If you're part of the mainstream, this is a dark time. But if you live on the edge, see that? If you live on the edge of the mainstream, if you live your own path, it's different, isn't it? What a color spectrum. It's a chaotic time for sure. But if you stay out of the mainstream and the murkiness that it engulfs, you'll have one heck of a beautiful colored time during this era. I do know that in my astrology readings that I have received, that this particular time is absolutely glorious, provided that I don't do stupid stuff like, adhering to the mainstream. And if you would like to know more, I am Jono Tho'ra. I have a website, jono.thora.show. You can get it on my link. It's hyperlinked on my bio. And you can get on my Discord. I provide advanced astrology services. I'm a net runner, so I'm also a hacker, so I can get you open source intelligence information, which I've been training on how to do. I know advanced astrology, so I can help you with that. If you want me to be your astrologer, I'd be willing to do it for a fee, because that is a lot of work. So I'm going to sit down for now and maybe finish up. I'm not sure how long that'll be. I need to relax. Feel tense. Feel very excited. Oh, you know what? It'd be kind of cool if I just did this. Let's just have that running in the back. Okay. I don't. This is the first year. So I don't have one from last year. This is the first year I've ever made a time map. I've never done this before. So yeah, August has been pretty chaotic. You say that, I'm like, oh, I should look at the time map. It's like I should see where the chaos is. Oh yeah, look. Oh, here, look, right here. This is all purple. It's going to get you a little better. So the beginning of August, all this purple, that's chaos. Purple is chaos. Pink and purple, that's chaos. So yeah, it was very chaotic. It was chaotic for me too. It was crazy. And we had chaos before then. See all that pink? That's chaos. It's also love. So if we could channel it properly, it's not exactly the easiest. Love is not the easiest energy to channel. just say it. Yeah, I've had trouble. So yeah, let's see. What do I got for you about this? I haven't released it yet, but I'm building a skin pack for Windows machines. So if you have a Windows computer, I have a really cool desktop background setup. It's like a skin, and it has a whole bunch of of live feeds for the Schumann resonance, and that's what I use. I use it up there. Yeah, pretty sure. So all of those sensors, that's I monitor that in the base at all times, because you never know when there's going to be like some sort of crazy energy spike or something that I need to monitor. And monitoring the psionic energy of the day helps me understand how to figure out how to do this kind of stuff. You know, it's I just gotta pull all the stops. It's constant research, among other things. I take breaks, you know. It's like, I was smoking weed for a couple of months, just there. That's a break. I quit today. I have another joint. I could smoke it, but I don't want to because I don't need to, because I'm not working for a bank. And that was the reason. It's like I couldn't live it. I couldn't do it. I was just like, this sucks. This is a terrible job. And it's like, it's easy. As a programmer, it's like, you know, it's actually a really easy job. And I'm like, how did I pass security? Me. They can do background checks. They did background checks. Like, they did a lot of background checks. How did I get that job? You could, what? What? How? I don't understand. And I guess they said yes because I've never done anything nefarious. Because I haven't, so I'm not really into that. It's not my thing. It's like I might think about it, like, but then I'll get sad because when I'm imagining me doing the evil thing, then I realize the consequences later, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's terrible. Fuck that. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's get it back. No, I like this one. So the time maps. So I'm able to make time maps now, and I know how. I have a Timestream thing. I'll make an app for it. I have a couple pieces of software ready already. But I'm going to have to figure out another way to do it without this TikTok account, because something's wrong. I can never get above 10 people on my lives. Once it gets up to 10, it locks. I don't know what that is. And it's just been like that for a long time. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I'm pretty confident that there is a bot of some kind that monitors and then basically reports me every time I go live in order to prevent me from doing that. But maybe I'm just being, no, that's possible, right? And so I'm worried that that might be the case, or that my account is somehow permanently flagged. Wow, they really make it impossible for people to do this kind of stuff. I'd rather die than work for a bank. That was really part of what was making me quit. My suicidal thoughts were coming back. And it was because of the bank. It was because of the job. And so I was like, okay, it's either I live with suicide or I quit. And that was the choice. So there's no way to make money because they basically have locked me out every single method. Oh yeah, the head device. How far am I? I can't show you now because everything's a mess in the base. Let's see. So I was working on a power cord technology. I was designing it for a while, and then I was 3D printing parts for it. But then the 3D printer started failing, and I had to basically. It was so frustrating because I literally had to repair it like all the time. I ended up like repairing it like 10 times. It was so frustrating. And I kind of stopped being frustrated and just accepted that it's going to be like this. And I didn't have enough money for spare parts, so I had to wait. And I got the spare parts, but in the time waiting for the spare parts, so that I can continue the 3D printing and get back onto building the headgear. I had gotten this bank job and miserable about it. I had started smoking weed, so I wasn't doing lives anymore, so it didn't matter so much. And it's not like I wasn't thinking about it. So I have only made minor progress. But I did get all of the parts necessary in order to finish the job. So that's good. I have all the parts now. Also replacement parts for the 3D printer. So I could start 3D printing again. But I have to clean up the desk space so I can get back to work. And I'm a little busy cleaning up everything else so I can get back to work. Because I had to clean up this area so I can start doing the lives again, so it starts mattering to me at all. Oh, thanks. Oh, that's so cool. That was cool. Yeah, I could cover my, yeah, let's do that on different sessions. I like that because being able to do the services, being able to get that would, if I could be doing services for people, that would be a great way for me to make money. That's preferred, and I'm sure I could do it. And I have a Patreon set up on my Jono.Tho'ra.show, so you could even just, do that. Or what services do I have? Oh, I could create your own time map. I can do advanced astrology for you. I do mentorship. Also, I do net running. So if you need somebody to do investigations for you about something, I'll do that. I'll do it for money. It's fine. Thank you. I will keep pushing forward. I have another... I don't even know how to do that. How are we going to do that? How are we going to get people over there without the bot knowing about it? Well, it's a bot. Right. So I have another TikTok. And I haven't... it's a sleeper, and I've been waiting on it for the opportune moment. Although, if the cyber bombings are just going to happen in a couple days, then whatever. But I figured that I might as well just go on live now, because otherwise I'd be disappointed. But basically, there is another TikTok that I'm going to be using as a platform that hasn't been shadow banned and it's ready to go. But it doesn't have lives yet, and so I need to populate it with a bunch of videos in order to hopefully get it to get boosted. I don't have the same advantages, and I don't really know how to go about doing this. I know that the other major TikTok folks managed to overcome it, but I have no idea how they did that. Besides persistence and a powerful cult following that never stopped helping them. So... so frustrating. No matter what, I can't give up. Stupid thing that I have to do. Sorry, I was having a little trouble right now about it. I wish this was easier. I'm literally battling against Luciferians with no backup. And they control the internet. And they already know me. And they have me flagged as somebody who knows about the Universal Symbology rating system, which is like a quintessential threat to their entire existence. And there I was, just barreling down in the rave scene. I'm going to be a superhero and save the world. And it's like supervillains are real and they're much more dangerous than you thought. So what a shit show. It's like we actually need real superheroes. Like that's pretty much the only way we're going to be able to win. With superpowers. And a lot of them. And the military's on their side. And the people know. And there's probably a couple of reformed anti-villains that have advanced technology that can help them, like me. But those superheroes don't exist. But the supervillains and their superpowers do. Welcome to Earth. Someone help me about that. I don't even know what to do. Breathing helps. I haven't been breathing. I don't know how to break the algorithms. Like, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Like on a basic level, on an obvious level. But they just keep fucking making the algorithm lock us down further. It's literally the app from China, and it's designed for this. It's designed for introducing lockdown state communism in a country. Like that's what it was for. That's what they used it for. They used it for monitoring the population so they could do that to them. They were about to wake up. And now we have no idea what's going on in their country. And it's probably really bad. They're not the only country we don't know what's going on. Russia's the same way. And that's just the nations. Although apparently the CCP, now I'm going to talk politics. Finally. The CCP, gosh, I haven't talked for a while about all this stuff. I'll just talk. It sounds like the CCP is going through a civil war, or at least that was one of the rumors that I saw. And there's another civil war between the elites and the military-industrial complex. Apparently, the military-industrial complex is having a scuffle with the elites because the elites are hiding in their little shit bunkers, and the military-industrial complex got kind of fucked, and so they're mad about it. And so there's infighting in the Illuminati. The Illuminati, the cabal is having infighting now because of how much disruption has occurred, or at least that's what the rumors are saying. Now the music's like on point. Wow, thanks. End of the world. End of the world. What news on an app called TikTok? Convenient, right? Yeah. If you can astral project for real, that's a superpower. All psychic abilities are superpowers. Thanks for saying that. Thanks for saying that about the astral projection. All psychic abilities are superpowers. I have psychic abilities of some kind. And everybody who dreams is psychic. Because dreaming is a psychic ability. Whether you're doing it during the day or night. I do it during the day, but I can also do it during the night, provided I stop smoking weed. Oh shit, I have not had, oh man, tonight's dreamscape is going to be crazy. Oh well. I miss them. Oh man, I miss that. Oh, they were always, it was something else. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice having that back. I forgot about that. That's interesting. You're exploring other realities of ruined cities, huh? Yeah, that deja vu, man. All those people who are like, deja vu is a trick of the mind. It's like, no way. That's like deja vu is you tapping into something suddenly, and like that is a power, that is a sign that you have some sort of claircognizant ability or clairvoyant ability. And I am confident that that could be honed into a superpower for sure. Like, absolutely. There's no way that can't be turned into a superpower. I don't know exactly how, but I'm sure a little creative ingenuity of thought can figure it out. I wonder if that's a fire sign ability or a water sign ability. Maybe both. It's dreams. It's light dreams, but it's of the mind, right? So if it's of the mind, that's air sign. If it's of dreams, that's Pisces. Not just water sign, that's Pisces specific. So let's see, what else? So yeah, it sounds like the Cabal is having a whole infighting issue. If it's pretty obvious. I was watching somebody who was talking about the rapture, and well, not just the rapture, but the time of revelation, and how the timeline's going. It really does sound like this. Not only is this it, but like this is the end, and they're going to be found out. And he was talking some big talk about Apollo and how the future is Luciferian, and I was like, I don't like how this guy's talking. And what also didn't make sense to me, there's a couple things that didn't make sense. We're not in the age of Aquarius yet. We still have roughly 500 years to go. So if we're not in the age of Aquarius yet, then we haven't even entered that next age, which means that whatever's going on now is different from the transition of that. And even if we were transitioning from Pisces into Aquarius on the border, if we were about to get there, it doesn't matter, because Aquarius isn't necessarily Apollo. They're not the same. Aquarius does not represent Apollo. Does anybody know, like, who Apollo represents? Apollo astrology. I hope that's just not a website. Sun god. Because basically he was saying we're going to go back to worshiping the sun. And there was one thing that was talking about, there's one guy who was talking about how during the age of Aquarius, the Leo is the Leo side, the sun, which is Leo. Leo is the sun. So it makes sense to me that during a time and an age of Leo, yeah, you worship the sun. It's the age of Leo. Of course you worship the sun. But like during the age of Aquarius, wouldn't you worship like the opposite of the sun? Yep. Like an anti-sun. False sun. Light from the sun. False light. Oof. Oh, man. Oh, that sucks. Oh, false light. Okay, that can't possibly be the truth. Or that can't possibly be the only truth. I hope not. Oh, man. Let's see. God of harmony. Who would be the god? The god of harmony. None of the astrologies would be god of harmony. None of the astrology would associate with god of harmony. There's a couple of symbols that represent harmony. And there's a symbol that represents God of harmony. Let's bring you in. I'm glad I got the extension cord, so I could just drag this wherever I need it to be without a problem. Okay, let's erase some of this. Let's see, God of harmony. I wonder why you say God of harmony, because I like that. Because I am a shaman of cosmic balance. Although I prefer to ally myself with that of resonance, because I like being alive and I like being happy while I'm alive. And so, and resonance and harmony are friends. So, let's push over. So this symbol represents harmony. And usually this represents God. You can also say that the point, the crystalline perfect core, is the essentialness of what God is. And so what you can do, check this out. Circle, square, triangle. You could put a dot in every single one of them, and that's the origin, the center, the core, the essence, the God. See that? See how that works? And so this is also an enclosed geometric shape. In Universal Symbology, this symbol has a closed shape, even though it's much more complex, because it's an intersection between two different triangles, but it's still an enclosed geometric shape. A harmonic one at that. Boom. And now, this is a whole nother symbol, where it's the core, the essence of harmony, the God of harmony. So this symbol would probably be close to representing that. And I do know that the Luciferians have hijacked the crap out of this symbol. And if you don't know, this symbol is not actually Judeo. It's not, the Jews don't identify with that symbol. The symbol was placed on them by the Nazis. They gave them that. That's where the enforcement came from. And before you think Nazis bad, actually, never mind. Nazis bad. Nazis bad. Nazis pretty bad. Nazis are pretty bad. They're Zionists, and in the case of the Nazis, they worship a evil type of energy. They really do. Like those not like I can't write the symbols because I'm pretty sure that the AI algorithm or something will pop up. So you can't even write a swastika. By the way, something's wrong with that. Swastika's not supposed to be evil. Well, at least one of them isn't. One of the swastikas are evil. It's not even evil. One of the swastikas represent luck, and one of these swastikas represent the opposite of luck. It's like not luck. I don't know. I use this one. Yeah, we wouldn't know its darkness unless there is light within it. That's true. That's well said. Oh, what is the L-Y-E-R? His Apollo's instrument. Can you see me doing that? Okay. This gets so excited sometimes. Apollo. Apollo. Oh, wow. It's invented by Hermes and given to Apollo. Yeah, they're definitely trying to bring Apollo back. Or something like that. I'm just remembering my encounter with the Illuminati guy that I met. Sure, that's how it happened. We met. That is what happened, actually. I didn't know about that musical instrument, so thank you. Okay, so for some reason, there's these folks believe that it's Apollo, which is the same thing as the sun god Osiris, which was weird because I was like, why did they say Osiris? Wouldn't they say Ra? But then it's like, then I remember, I was like, well, Ra is Osiris. And I'm like, Amun Ra. It's like Amun Ra. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to know, Amun, amen, direct link. That's when you say amen, you're calling on Amun, and it just changed. That's what's going on. That's where it came from. That's what amen means. You're basically calling on that deity to solidify the spell that you have just cast. And you're calling on that deity. Let me say that again for anybody who doesn't understand that Luciferians control the church yet. When you're in church and they have you do a hymn and you have to, or a spell, or say stuff from the book, and you have to say amen at the end of it, you're saying the spell, and then you're calling on the god Amun, amen, to do it for you. But they're not telling you that in the church. They don't tell you that, and they don't, and some of them don't even know. So don't even think that your pastors or your priests are evil. Like, don't just jump to that conclusion right away, because I've met some and they don't seem evil. I've never seen them doing it. I'm just thinking about the pastor from my family back in Iowa. She can't possibly be evil. But then again, you know, that's what I said about, like, several actors now. So who knows how it really is. And then it's such a fine line, because it's not like they're, oh man, they're definitely doing the baby thing. Anyway, let's see. Right, back to Apollo. So they're saying that Apollo is the same thing as Lucifer, the light bringer, right? And the logic is very simple. The light bringer, the bringer of light. What brings light? The sun god. Lucifer, the sun god. Apollo, the sun god. That's what they were trying, that was the connection that he was trying to make. It didn't make sense though, because when you actually go into the lore, actually I don't know. I don't know all of the lore about Lucifer. And there's a lot of mixed stuff now because of all of the fighting about it. If we're heading towards the age of Aquarius, and that's the opposite of Leo, and Leo is the sun, so this would be the false light bringer. If you want to see it from that perspective of Leo is the best. And of course Leo would say that. If you don't know, in astrology, Leo is the one who would be like, I am the greatest. Everybody, I should be king. I should be in charge because I am the king top. And so that's what Leo does, as to who they are as people. And so Aquarius is also like that. But there's a big difference, and it's the way they lead. Where Aquarius wants to be left alone, whereas Leo needs to be with other people. Leo needs to be with other people, and they need them to be they need to be the king of these people. But what's important about it is, what I just said is the simple experience and expression of a Leo. But there's two sides to this, where there's an egotistical side and a narcissistic side to it. But then there's this other side of the Leo that they can also take this other path. There's this narcissistic, self-serving, inconsiderate path that a Leo can take. And, you know, it appears very narcissistic, and it can be that way. And then there's this other type of Leo where they're much more trying to serve as a good king or queen. They're trying to be the best servant for the others who follow them and who are under them. And that's like the best, that's like what a Leo should be. And on the Aquarius side, they have a kind of a different issue where, well, sorry, I can speak this personally, where as an Aquarius, I could be super egotistical and narcissistic and use all of these things that I know about the cosmos to take advantage of the world, to do whatever I want. I can, and it's the equivalent of an evil genius. If you're wondering where the evil geniuses come from, they come from Aquariuses. Yeah, right? Like, it's an angel of light. And so, like, wouldn't an angel of light bring truth? Like, that's what light's, it's the truth bringer. And then they're saying false light. So that sounds, now if we remember, yes, thank you for saying that. It's like, if we remember that the church has been infiltrated, maybe it's not, oh gosh, maybe I'm wrong about Luciferians. Ooh, man, that was something. I don't know. I was, whoa. I could be wrong about the Luciferians. And if I am wrong about the if we're wrong about, oh, maybe it could be. It's the deception, right? Like, so that's possible. That's very possible. They say he was a fallen angel and the leader of the fallen angels. And that Lucifer became Satan. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, how does an angel, like I can imagine that he can manifest Satan or something like that. Oh, and by the way, like my money's now going on Satan's a person, like Satan's some asshole on Earth, and I don't think that they're a normal human being. I think that they might be immortal and have been alive for a long time. I think it could be Tubal Cain. I think that's very likely. I think that's very likely. It could be Cain, or it could be Tubal Cain. It's either one of those, or something like that. And the reason why I believe that is because the Freemason password for the higher echelons is Tubal Cain. That's their password to get in. And, that's a thing. So I'm not going to deny anybody's stuff. I'm going to add to the conversations that you guys are having because this is great. So I do think that angels are real. And I think that angels are real because the multiverse is so infinite that it would literally produce a consciousness that permeates all of the multiverse because it's infinite, so it would produce everything. And so of course that would pop up. And if that pops up, you better believe things like ascended life forms would pop up, right? I was like, they're going to evolve. So of course there's going to be angels and demons. So I do think that the angels and demons are real. I can't imagine ways on a cosmic scale how angels can fall. I can also imagine ways that angels would go so far to work with humans born on Earth and help the humans channel them. But once you get to that point of conversation, then you have to identify that there's way more than just perfect, holy, ascended life forms. Not all entities that you can channel are good or just bad. It's not like holy and evil and that's it. It's like, whoa, no, they're just like us. It's holy and evil and everything in between. And that in between is a big space. So there's a lot. And so there's entities of all kinds. And you can channel into them. And so if you're a person who has conversations with yourself, you're probably having conversations, you're having conversations with yourself across the cosmos. So somewhere across the cosmos, there's another version of you who is psychically harmonizing with you at that exact moment, and that's how you're having this conversation. And it's like, it's a welcome to the multiverse. So you can totally do that. It's a natural feature. Yeah, I think that gray area is a very real space. And I think of it as a gray area because it's right, it's evil. It's evil, it's the darkness to light, the brightness, and everything in between. And then you could add an additional circular dimension to that. And that circular dimension, the linear is light to dark. And the circular, that's color. That's what's behind me. That's what this is. And that's harmony. So the harmony comes from the color. The harmony does not come from the linear dimension. Harmony comes from circular dimensions, which are infinite, as opposed to linear dimensions, which are finite. There's an end, and the end is the dark and the light, the alpha and the omega. So that's where that goes. Ooh, interesting. I'd actually like a topic switch. So, interesting about the Lucifer though. It's like I would hope that the angel of light would only be doing evil or inspiring evil upon us just so we wake up. That sounds like Luciferian to me. That is so Luciferian to me. Evil for the sake of good. And that would be anti-evil, which I like because I'm a reformed anti-villain. So that sounds like a good idea, but I can see how that sucks, and it's preferred not to do that, and I'm now on the side of the superheroes because this sucks. Oh, that makes sense. Don't worry, I'm reformed. Everything's fine. I'm basically a superhero now. It's fine. Of course, before I was a superhero, but now I'm just having fun about the anti-villain. And pretty much every person who talks to me is like, "You were never a villain. What are you talking about?" It could have been. It could have happened if I was abused enough. It's like, yeah, but you didn't, and so don't even say it. I'm like, fine. One of these days, I'm gonna say that in front of a superhero, and they are gonna flip the fuck out. They're gonna attack me and try to blow up my base. It's written in my astrology. That fucker's gonna do that. So I gotta build a secret base. I gotta build a special secret base just for him, so that he can come in there, blow it all up, and then when he's done, I'm just gonna be waiting outside the door, and he'll be like, "What the fuck were you?" And I'm like, "You done? Okay, we got a world to save. Okay, now that you're done thinking I'm a bad guy and blowing up a base, and you owe me $17 billion for that secret base. And I know you ain't never going to pay it because you come from the projects, but you're a superhero, so there's other currencies involved here. So why don't I just help you out saving the world, and we'll call it even, because I definitely built that base using evil money that I stole from evil people so that you'd blow up that evil base that I didn't want to exist." No, it's okay. No humans were hurt in the labor. It was all robots, and they knew what I was doing, and they thought it was a great job. They thought it was a great idea. So I'm that kind of guy. Georgia Guidestones, we should get a tank and drive over the Georgia Guidestones. That's my plan. Pelosi, subject change, thank you. Do you think when Pelosi steps down, do you think that Biden is going to... fake Biden. Fake Biden. Fake news. Fake election. That's what I think. Fake Biden. I think it's fucking fake Biden. There's no way. I saw the neck thing. I saw his eyes jumping around. The weird thing about his teeth. All of these green screen things, like green screen after green screen after green screen. Man, it's fake. Pictures after doctored pictures after doctored pictures. That's all fake. What's going on? It's obvious that's fake Biden. And number one thing, old pictures of Biden, new pictures of Biden. Old Biden talks differently, sounds very similar, sounds almost exactly the same. Almost exactly the same. Almost, right? And it's just like, I'm listening to the guy, I'm looking at his face, it's a big face, right? He's got a big head, and his face, it all fits. And it's like, yeah, okay, that looks like him. And then when you look at the fake Biden, the new Biden, that's different ears. One ear is connected, and one ear has an earlobe. But when you look at old Biden, both earlobes, different ears, different facial structure, different Biden, fake Biden, fake fucking Biden. That's fake Biden. And it was when I saw this one live that they were having him on, and I was watching him very closely, and I saw some seriously weird stuff, and it was obviously augmented reality. And I was like, that's like a computer generated image. That's not even a clone. What is that? And then I'm seeing on posts, they're saying who the guy is. And so, it's fake news. Fake Biden. I mean, for all we know, because, all we're seeing is what's on TV, right? Right? All we're seeing is what's on TV. Whereas Trump's doing this shit where he's physically going around in person to prove to everybody that he's a real human who can stand in front of people, right? So that's something that's going on. That's probably why he's been doing that. That's why he's been doing that, because he's trying to prove, let me, before we all get on the Trump train, God, I really want to be on the Trump train. I want to be on that train, but I know how diabolical the Illuminati are, and it could be so bad that this whole thing is a farce. And if that's the case, then this is definitely a farm planet, and there's no way off. Oh, man. Good luck, everybody. I hope that's not the case. If this is an alien farm planet, we're about to find out. Good luck, everybody. But I don't think so, because things are a little weird. And they wouldn't sterilize everybody if this was a farm planet, because that's bad for business. They would ship everybody off-world. If this was that kind of plan, yeah. Which is kind of what the rapture is. We'll find out. If the rapture is the alien version. No, man. Okay, so the UFOs are very real, and it's just they're not telling us the whole truth. They're not telling us about the aliens directly. And there's a high probability, and when I say they, I mean the cabal. They're probably just going to mess with us and just do the trick. But UFOs are real, and the mainstream today has accepted it. So Michio Kaku was on a video today talking about the UFOs and saying, okay, these are real, and then just examining what the UFOs are doing when they're diving into the water and then coming out of the water at those speeds. And he's saying, we got nothing that could do that. I don't even know physically, in physics, what could do that. And so when he says that, like, I'm everything after learning electrogravitic technology and like all this kind of stuff, and I've read Michio Kaku's books, or at least one of them. It's great. And I mean, I could just tell you right now, how does he not know? Like, he should know. Like, I read his books. How does he not know? And those books are old. Like, he must have thought about it more. So unless he hasn't, for some reason, because he's like a scientist or is not allowed, he's known all along. And so does Neil deGrasse Tyson. And Neil deGrasse Tyson has even said on national television, after fucking being asked explicitly multiple times, that he has been that he had to tell the guy that he has been told, I have been told that I cannot talk about that. And I was like, holy shit. It's like they really are censoring the crap out of this. He's not allowed to talk about any of that stuff. And it's really bad that way. So, if they don't tell us everything about the aliens, and they try to turn it into an alien invasion kind of thing, or an alien invasion scare, that's Project Bluebeam. It's possible that we might see them try to do that, because the UFOs are totally getting to that point right now. And that could be what the Black Swan event is. So if it's not the cyber bombings that's coming up in a couple days, it's going to be the UFOs and the big alien scare that comes up in a couple days. But the problem for the cabal is that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing anymore. Their entire plan has completely collapsed. It really has. And the reason why it obviously has completely they had a step-by-step agenda, full-blown plan. It was completely foolproof. And what ended up happening was we literally had a combination of things. We had divine intervention. We had the Space Force, the United Earth Alliance started making the push, if that's all real. They definitely went to the Vatican. Right. Oh, fuck! That's right. Somebody was talking about there's just a lot of stuff. I haven't been on live for a while. I'll just keep talking about it. There was somebody who was talking about the popes and how the black pope is actually the Antichrist. And so whoever the black pope is, that's the Antichrist. Although I still don't know. And there's some other asshole who was like, well, then there's the black pope and then there's the white pope. But then nobody knows that secretly there's an even higher pope, which is the gray pope. And I'm like, what is that, a pope of cosmic balance? And it's like, I mean, that makes sense, but, you know, if that really existed, why don't... Gosh. Now, I definitely believe about the Black Pope, because that's definitely what the Jesuits are doing. The Jesuit priests are who control the church right now. Or did. Triangular shape with 3 green lights. That probably is the military one. So remember this, that some of the UFOs belong to the governments. So some of the UFOs belong to Earth, and we made those. But we can't talk about them because they're super secret, and there's all this crazy shit going on about the cabal about it, because they've been trying to get to space to take over the universe, or whatever. They basically It's not even that. They want to become God. And the mentality is, if I eat everything in all of existence, then then all of existence is within me. And now I am God. And like that's like how they think. Right? Like that's that's not gonna work. That's a very that's not gonna work. So, but that's the idea. The idea is, what if I merged everything? And the killer part is, it's not like you can't do that. It's not like you can't do that. You can do that. But the moment that you become the one above all God, that's just exactly the same thing as the already existing one above all God continuing its constant process of churning existence. And so by the time this any evil whatever becomes that God, they would literally have had to become light, like pure, holy. And so like they'd literally drop all of their evil anyway. They become the oneness, they become perfect. And that's what they want. They're narcissistic, right? They want to be perfect, perfection. And so like that's a feature of what they're trying to accomplish as these narcissists who believe that they can be God, or believe they are God, or believe that they have a destiny to be God, or whatever. They usually misinterpret what it means when someone says, you are just like me, you are God. And then when you say that to a narcissist, they go down this terrible rabbit hole of believing that they're a God. They start acting that way, and it gets bad fast. And that's pretty much where you get these psychos who freaking are part of the Illuminati and stuff. There's a lot of other folks who join them. Let's see. Yeah, that is why it's hard to believe. But check this out: you can have holy leaders. There is totally plausible. I did the research into this. So, no, I'm humbleizing myself right now. In astrology, from my studies into astrology, that's way better. I'm glad that I knew how to say that right. In my studies into astrology, I have discovered that the hunt for power is not what makes people try to necessarily. Yeah, it's not. That's not what makes people go for leadership. The hunt for power is what makes people try to take advantage of stuff. And so becoming a leader is one way to do that. But there's all kinds of ways to do that. But in my studies of the Leo and their place in leadership, I've discovered that leadership happens where somebody is ahead of the others in some way. And so if somebody wants, so for example, an Aquarius is a good leader in the realms of science, in the realms of knowledge. And so you want that type of person leading in that position. Just like you want someone who's a Leo to be leading the tribe in terms of the experience, because they are the ones who really care about everybody's experience, and especially everybody's experience of the Leo. They want everyone to have a good experience of who they are, and they really care about that. All fire signs do. And that's a fire sign trait. And so if you have any of that fire sign in you, that's where that's coming from. That's one of the places it comes from. Quintessentially, actually. So in terms of leadership, uh, the power, right. So the power becomes something that can corrupt, and so it takes wisdom in order to combat that. And as lessons appear, wisdom forms. Pisces are very good at wisdom. Pisces are all about wisdom. They have a hunt for that. And there you go. Pisces, once again, are great leaders in the field of wisdom. And so they'll become your sages. They'll become your mystics, the people who understand these absolute deepest parts of the entire. I have a lot of Pisces. I'm a Aries, Aquarius, Pisces. So I'm very good at talking about those. So for a Gemini, so Gemini energy and the Gemini harmonic frequency is an air sign mutable. And so it's it can be very tall, physically. Check this out. Every astrology, the harmonics of the energies change your genetics and thus affect how your body forms. So it changes if you're stocky, it changes how much weight you might gain, or it changes your fitness level, it changes your brain, like how your brain works, it changes your biochemistry, which thus changes the kind of foods you like to eat. Dude, it's everything. I'm like, whoa, it's way more than just personality. It's like everything. Changes your facial structure. If you have Pisces, you have certain types of eyes. Tauruses have certain types of nose. The list is long and full. It's like everything. It's really interesting because you can use that knowledge to, if you're a Taurus, particularly, anybody can do it. But a Taurus would probably be the best at it. Maybe Earth signs would be the best at it. Taurus or Virgo, because Virgos are very good at analysis and it's physical, so they might be very good. But Tauruses care a lot about the body, so that's why I'm saying them. So either one of those for sure. For sure. And Capricorn also. They can see features of your physical body and immediately discern stuff about you because they're so attuned to physical features of the world. And so, thanks for the goggles. I love the goggles. So in Earths, for those Earth signs, for that Taurus, and I know you asked for Gemini, I'll get there. And I don't know why this matters right now, but this is part of the lesson. So everything matters. I'll get to Gemini. Those two Earth signs particularly would be very good at seeing physical traits of a person's body and then immediately snap determining, I bet that person eats pigs. Because and it's like, how do you know? They got the face for it. It's like, what? Is it they got a piggy face? It's like, well, maybe. And I don't know which astrology has piggy face. I think pigs are cute. So I have my grandparents have a pig farm. So there's a whole mortality to that I don't need to get into though. Anywho, Gemini. So Geminis are they shy? They can be shy. Not necessarily, but they can be shy. No, they're outgoing. They're social. Right, because they're social. Just like the Sagittarius. Who's the opposite of the Gemini. It's Sagittarius is red, Gemini is yellow. Gemini's a mutable air sign, so they're very flow. They have flow. They can dance, I think. I know Sagittarius can dance, which probably means Gemini can dance. They think a lot, and they have lots of ideas, and they talk a lot. They talk a lot. And they really like to talk a lot about particular topics that they think about often. What else do I know about Geminis? A corrupt Gemini is an exceptionally skilled and compulsive liar. And if you are looking, every astrology can lie, and they all have different ways to do it. But Gemini is the classic case, like the corrupt Gemini is the classic case of the narcissistic liar. And so when you have a Gemini who has a trauma of extreme degree or something like that, they have a high probability of just lying a lot because they're capable of coming up with them because they think so much, thinking all the time. And that also means that they're just as good at totally figuring out when someone's fucking lying. They can see right through that shit. They can see it immediately. Why? Because they hear it, and then their brain is so fast that it backtracks and says, oh, that's a lie. That's how you make that. And they just do it instantly. It's an instant thing for them. It's super easy. And why? Because they're harmonic with it. And so just as they are good at lying, they're good at seeing that. So that's Gemini energy, a little bit. Some astrologies I know a little bit more than others, but I've studied them all now, so I know enough to talk about each one. Gemini, what kind of music do they like? They like a lot of music. They like dance music. They like they like music that has a lot of history to it. So if there's this epic backstory about the band and you know what happened to the band, man, and like, oh, they did all these things, and the Gemini knows the whole thing. They know the whole story, and they can tell you everything about the story. Why? Because they looked it all up, because they care so much. And that's like something about Geminis that's very unique in terms of who they are as people and what kind of, like, I did a big study of what kind of music does each astrology like, so I could have a deeper understanding of what fire sign, air sign, earth sign, and water sign energies like, and what mutable, cardinal, and fixed modalities like. And that, if you don't know what that is, I could show you. So that, once again, getting into base symbology, you can't teach this without base symbology. Check that out. You can't actually teach astrology for real without base symbology, which is why most astrologers just use the internet and they just basically look up the horoscope. That's it. They're not, that's not astrology. That's looking up a horoscope. That's not astrology. It's not even astrology. Okay, so here's cardinal, mutable, and then fixed. You know, that looks like a staple, right? It's like a stapler's staple. Well, that's the same idea. You're fixing it into place. Mutable, that's a curve. You're going to change that. It's a modular. So like this is Gemini. Gemini is mutable. So they're able to change ideas. See what I just said there? Lying, taking truth, and then changing it. That's a lie. That's why they're so good at it. And they're also able to do the same thing in the reverse. They can take a lie and change it back into the truth. Today is the first day I ever realized they can do that because of you. So thank you so much for asking about Gemini, because I didn't know they can do that. That's awesome. I need some Gemini friends. That's gonna be cool. That's so cool. What an awesome ability. Oh my God. They can freaking undo lies. That's amazing. Oh, I was like, oh man, that's a great power. Now that's a superpower. And the cardinals are direct, and so they make change. Well, it's not even change. They make things happen. So normally this, and you can see it from the geometry of the line. You can see it from their curvature, from the formula that makes this. So in one case, you have a straight line that suddenly, and so that's an immediate action. And then you have this one, which is more of a curve. It's a, it's this, that kind of shift. And then you have the staple that says, no, there, just there. We went up, but now we're going back down, stable. This is the stable one. These are the unstable ones. It's not that this is unstable. These are both unstable. Because this one's active, this one's passive, this one's static. Stays the same, reacts, acts. And you need them all. And this modality knowledge applies to everything in the cosmos. And so it applies to electricity, it applies to phase in electricity, it applies to programming, it applies to sonar. That's a great example. You have active sonar, passive sonar, and then static objects that are basically just there, And so that's how, and all of that's interacting. And why was this important? Besides the fact that it's important. Because I was going to modality. I was explaining the modality. Right. And so, for example, here's a good example. I'm trying to get to the Gemini. This is a good example for the music. That's what I was connecting it. People who are dominant with this energy, they like music that looks like this, where the frequencies look like this, where the ones who like this, they like the wubs, the woobles, the weep weeps. So any of those parts of the song. And I wasn't doing a good example of that, but that's because I have a lot of this. So, whereas I'm very good with this song, like I'm good with this kind of, and this is a delay. So, that's stable. They like that part. That part gives them stability. And so when you have that, this is part of music. This is part of music. And of course it's part of music. And here's how. This is bass 12, and so it's the bass 12 musical note harmonic. You have your tonality, you have your A, you have your F, right? You have all these other letters. There's an E, and is there a B? There's a B. I think there's a C. There is a C. There's a C. Is there a D? There's a D. Is there A, B, C, D, E, F? Is there a G? G minor? Yeah, there's a G. Is there an H? No, there's no H. And notice that I only have 7 here. Dude, they occulted the crap out of the music notation system. Let me say that another time. The evil assholes who controlled the church and manipulated absolutely everything in all of our sciences and knowledge changed how music works, and they turned it into this convoluted, alphabetical-based crap, which actually makes it a lot harder to learn on a hyperharmonic level. And so if you take, and there's a way, let me get the thing. I get the thing. Yeah, got it. Got the thing. So this is a study I did, and I have a bunch of these. Like I did a deep study into all of the different types of ways that music is affected by astrology, or the correlations between the two. And so if you notice, every astrology intersection correlates to a harmonic note. And it all is mathematically provable. You can totally mathematically prove that these harmonic notes all directly correlate to all of these different frequencies. And these symbols in the center I mean, that's base symbology. That's part of base symbology. Those 12 symbols are the Stargate symbols of real astrology. And they're universal. And so aliens know those symbols completely. There's no way they don't. And the reason why I know that isn't because I met aliens. It's because there's only one way that you can mathematically draw that. There's only so many ways that you can draw a symbol, and its limitations are based on the geometry of our universe. And as long as those aliens live in our universe, they follow the same rules, and so they can figure out the same thing and then create and write that same universal language. The reason why it's universal isn't because somebody created the language. It's because the language is literally intrinsic in the universe. I wouldn't be surprised if the universe was created, though. Because it's possible. I mean, multiverse. So I guess I don't need to draw it because I just showed you the thing, and the thing's great. All right. So it's 8:04. I'm surprisingly hotter physically than I expected, and it's still daylight. But I am exhausted, mostly because my lungs are a little weak, and I've just been smoking too much for too many days. But it was a good exercise for my lungs. The vibration definitely helped my throat release a whole bunch of something or other. I'll have a very good sleep and finally have some dreams, and I'll remember them. That'll be nice. And I'll tell all of you. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do. If I am Jono Tho'ra and I am lucky enough, the job agency the business agency that I work for will score me another position at a way, way better job that I've been waiting for a long time. And I'm in talks with other managers about it, and it's a big deal for me because if I get that job, and they're saying, first of all, I'm the only one who can do it because I'm the only programmer who's skilled enough to be able to do that. I don't know if there are other programmers in the world who know how to do that type of app besides me. So they certainly don't, and they have me in the company now, and they know it's a big deal. So if I'm lucky, and I know I am, but I'm also asking the universe for help because I need it. Because I totally just left that other job that was killing me in the certain face of plausible homelessness during probably some of the darkest days of our time. But I didn't make a mistake doing that because they were definitely going to bring us into the office and force all of us to get vaccinated. And I just don't trust that. So I saved I did right by my soul, and I am not going to cry or be sad that I left that mess that I did not need to be a part of. And it was the most stressful experience, and they were the stress. And I was just like, really? No. Thank you. I need the help. I'll pray tonight. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. I have laundry to do. Thanks for being on. Hope that was all valuable. If you weren't there earlier, I have a website, jono.thora.show. You can there's a hyperlink, and thanks Jazz. There's a hyperlink on my bio. You can totally link up there and check out my website. I just uploaded a whole bunch of stuff. I've been working on it for days and months and weeks, all combined. And it's finally coming to a head. I'm no longer, we're getting to the point where Starcom, the superhero agency for this open source intelligence superhero agency, where it's open source, so we have other people come in, and it's basically going to be this whole operation for finding the truth and working on a mission to save the future. And that's like, ultimately, that's what Starcom's all about. And I'm just getting started out, and I'm excited to make that into a much bigger thing. And I know that it's a seed that will grow into a great tree, but I will have to totally manage a forest of a garden with an epic multi-tiered team of folks that I want to co-leadership with, because there's no way that I could manage all of that. I'm way too Aquarius. I need my own time. I got science to do. So hopefully I can meet some good Leos. So maybe I can meet some good Tauruses and some good any astrologies, really. But a Taurus, a Leo, and a Scorpio would help balance me out on the mission. Also, Scorpios aren't evil. If you didn't know that, turns out they're not bad. Who knew? It's like, had to double check again. I like Scorpios. They defend Pisces. Scorpios protect and defend Pisces. I didn't know that. That's really nice. And they do it because they love them and they love their passionate emotions. That's really kind. I always thought the Pisces were basically just victims that had no defenders and were just stuck alone, and they're just screwed. It's like, talk about bottom bitch. I had no idea that there was an entire astrology that would literally just totally step in the way and say, fuck you for doing that to them. You're gonna get dead. And that's like all Scorpio. They are like, make dead. That's make dead. Wow. They also have the power to not make dead. That's the thing. They can choose that. So anyway. Oh, I don't know if there's a link between those two. Probably a link between a DiCaprio. I don't know. I can only think of Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know why. I haven't studied too much Da Vinci enough. Leonardo da Vinci. Who's DiCaprio? Yep, Inception. Yeah, I don't know. All right, folks. Have a good night and enjoy TikTok. Bye.